She told me I was paranoid. That I was imagining things. That her late nights, her new friend, the constant attitude shifts, it was all in my head. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But the night I saw that message pop up on her phone, I stopped believing and started watching. What I found unraveled everything: our marriage, my trust, and the version of myself I thought I had to be to keep it all together. We've been married almost 10 years. Together for 12. No kids, decent jobs, 2 cars, a nice neighborhood, nothing flashy, but we were stable. Or so I thought. 6 months ago, my wife, let's call her Anna, started talking about leveling up in her career. She worked in UX design, freelance mostly, and was always chasing the next gig or client. She said she wanted to build something bigger. Start an agency. Go full-time. I supported her. Fully. I even covered more of the bills so she could reduce her client load and focus on building the business. That's when he entered the picture. Some guy named Trent. Supposedly a startup consultant. She met him through a networking group. She said he'd done this a dozen times, and was helping her avoid rookie mistakes. At first, I thought, great. Everyone needs a mentor. Then she started talking about him a lot. Then only about him. Oh, Trent says I should build a personal brand. Trent thinks I'm undervaluing myself. Trent says I have leadership energy. I asked if I could meet him. She said, that's not necessary. Red flag, right? But I ignored it. I told myself not to be that guy, insecure, controlling. I kept paying the bills, making dinner, supporting her dream. Then came the weird nights. She'd be working late at his place. Or out at some work dinner that didn't show up on her calendar. She'd come home smelling like someone else's cologne, said it was a client she hugged. And the attitude shift. Next level. She started nitpicking everything I did. How I folded towels. How I wasn't ambitious enough. How I never understood how much pressure she was under. I asked her once, gently, if she still wanted to be married. She rolled her eyes and said, God, stop being dramatic. Not everything is about you. But everything in my gut was screaming that something had shifted. That something was off. I wasn't planning to check her phone. I'd thought about it, sure. Anyone would when things start to feel off. But I told myself no, I'd wait for proof. Real proof. Then she slipped up. It was a Tuesday night. She was in the shower, and her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I wasn't snooping, I was reaching for the charger we share. But I caught the preview on her lock screen. It was a message from Trent. Same time tomorrow. Last night was fire. I didn't move for a solid 10 seconds. Just stared at those words like they were written in a different language. She always deletes her threads. Always. I guess she forgot this time. Or got too comfortable. When she came out of the shower, I handed her the phone without a word. Her eyes flicked to the screen. She blinked, then locked it. No panic. No gasping. Just this slow, controlled exhale, like she'd already rehearsed it. Then she said, it's not what you think. Which is exactly what people say when it's exactly what you think. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't ask questions. Just stared at her. So she filled the silence. He's going through a breakup. He's been flirty. I didn't want to make it weird. I'm trying to be supportive. I said, last night was fire. She shrugged. He's just being immature. And then, she got mad at me. Started accusing me of not trusting her. Of spying. Of being insecure. Said she was building something important and I was dragging her energy down. That was the moment I realized she wasn't going to come clean. She was going to rewrite reality. And she was going to gaslight me while doing it. After that night, I stopped asking questions. Not because I believed her, but because I didn't need more lies. What I needed was clarity. So I did what most people in my position eventually do, I started looking backward. The consulting sessions at Trent's apartment. The new lingerie she said was just for her. The gym membership she never used. The time she came home with a weird bruise on her collarbone and called it a yoga injury. None of it added up. It never had. I just didn't want to admit it. Then I checked our shared credit card. She forgot she used my backup card to pay for an Uber one night. The destination? A hotel downtown. Same one she said she was hosting a client meetup at last month. It showed a drop-off at 9:13 p.m. No return trip. I cross-referenced it with a work calendar she left open once. That event wasn't even listed. I kept going. Venmo notes. THX for dinner. You kill me. A $60 charge for copywriting help that was sent at 1 a.m. All from Trent. She'd told me they weren't even close outside of strategy meetings. I looked at our photos. The last one of us together, together, was over 5 months ago. A dinner I'd planned. She looked bored in the picture. Now I couldn't stop seeing it. The distance. The contempt. The way she was already living in a separate world and only coming home to reset. This wasn't a spark that spiraled. This was a blueprint. A long, ugly one. And I'd been funding it. I didn't want revenge. Not yet. I wanted certainty. I wanted her to look me in the eye and lie so I could finally stop giving her the benefit of the doubt. So I set the scene. Friday afternoon, I told her I had a late meeting. Said I'd be working from a client's office across town. I even forgot my laptop charger on purpose, so she'd know I wouldn't be back early. She smiled, kissed me on the cheek, said, "Good luck, babe." At 6:40 p.m., I drove around the block, parked behind the neighbor's boat trailer, and waited. At 7:03, her car pulled out of the driveway. She looked nice, like trying nice. Hair curled, red lipstick, the kind she used to wear for date nights with me. She drove to a downtown restaurant. Not some chain or co-working space. A trendy spot with mood lighting and overpriced cocktails. And there he was, Trent, standing outside, checking his watch. They hugged. Not a business hug. We do this all the time, hug. The kind where her hands went around his waist like it was home. They went inside. I didn't follow. I didn't need to. I went back home, let myself in quietly, and sat in the dark for 2 hours. Didn't turn the lights on. Didn't pace. Just sat in silence, staring at the wall, playing back every conversation she twisted. At 9:38, headlights hit the driveway. She came in smelling like gin and someone else's cologne. Walked right past me without seeing me. When I said, "Have fun," she jumped. Didn't scream. Just blinked. "What are you doing here?" Wrong question. I stood up. "You tell me." She froze. Then rolled her eyes. "Oh my God. Are we really doing this?" That was her response. No guilt, no fear. Just annoyance, like I'd interrupted her show. I asked her one more time. Just one. "Where were you tonight?" She dropped her purse on the counter like she was clocking out of work. "Out. With friends." I said, "Trent's not a friend." That made her laugh, actually laugh. Short, sharp, hollow. "You're unbelievable," she said. "You've been spying on me." I didn't answer. She kept going. "What, you followed me? Sat in your car like some creep while I was out trying to have one normal night without getting interrogated?" I said, "You've been lying for months." She didn't deny it. Not this time. She just changed direction. "You've been emotionally unavailable for years. I tried talking to you. You always shut down. Trent actually listens. He supports me." I said, "You mean he sleeps with you?" Another eye roll. "You know what? Believe whatever you want. I'm done apologizing for needing connection." I stood there, blinking, stunned by the complete lack of remorse. It wasn't just the cheating. It was the coldness. The rewrite. The way she'd clearly prepared this script in her head for months and now she was performing it without hesitation. "You used me," I said. "You let me pay your bills while you ran around with him." She didn't even blink. "You were supposed to be my partner," I said. She turned her back. "You were supposed to see me," she said. "You were always just there. Quiet. Predictable. You made it easy to slip away." That was the part that hit. Not the infidelity. Not the betrayal. But the realization that she never once thought I'd do anything about it. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't ask her why again, because I finally understood that why didn't matter. It wouldn't be the truth. Just more noise. So I walked upstairs, grabbed a bag, packed the essentials. Jeans, shirts, chargers, my passport, a spare credit card I'd never given her access to. I'd already moved enough money to keep myself afloat. She followed me up the stairs. "What are you doing?" I didn't answer. "Seriously? You're leaving? That's so dramatic." I zipped the bag. Are we not even going to talk about it?" She still hadn't said sorry. Still hadn't admitted anything real. I looked at her one last time. "You've already talked enough," I said. "I've just been stupid enough to listen." I walked down the stairs. She didn't follow. When I hit the front door, she said, "You're really going to throw away 10 years over one mistake?" "One mistake." I laughed. "Your calendar must be different than mine." And then I left. I didn't slam the door. Didn't peel out of the driveway. Just drove. I don't even remember where I went first. I ended up sleeping in a hotel on the edge of town that smelled like bleach and broken promises. But I slept. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, I actually slept. And in the morning, I didn't miss her. I didn't miss the fake version of her I'd been trying to keep alive. I just missed the man I used to be before she hollowed me out with a smile. The messages started the next afternoon. Can we talk? You left things really badly. I think we should have a real conversation before making any big decisions. I didn't respond. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I'd said it all the night I walked out. And she wasn't listening then. She was performing. Deflecting. Denying. Now that I'd pulled the plug. Now she wanted to talk. Classic. I left the read receipts on. Let her see that I saw every message. That I was choosing not to answer. Because that's what she did to me for 6 months, just with a different flavor. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even sad. I was done. By day 3, she got more aggressive. Are you really ghosting your own wife? This is emotional abuse, you know. You're acting like a coward. Right. I was the coward for not clinging to someone who cheated, lied, blamed me for it, and never once apologized. She tried calling a few mutual friends. I know because one of them texted me. She says she made a mistake. Are you sure you're not being too cold? Too cold? Where was this energy when I was paying her rent while she played startup queen in some other guy's bed? I didn't answer that either. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say, is nothing at all. For days after I left, she showed up. I was staying at a friend's place while he was out of town. Quiet neighborhood, second floor walk up, no doorbell, just a firm knock around 8:30 p.m. I looked through the peephole. There she was. Hoodie, no makeup, hair in a messy knot. She was trying to look broken. Relatable. The victim. I didn't open the door right away. She knocked again. Then, please. Just talk to me. I cracked the door but left the chain on. She blinked like she didn't expect to actually see me. I just want to explain. I said nothing. She shifted her weight. I know I screwed up. But you didn't even give me a chance to fix it. You didn't try to fix it, I said. You just tried to hide it better. She flinched. That hit. Then the tears started. Right on cue. I was confused. I didn't know how to ask for more without hurting you. That's not confusion, I said. That's cowardice. Silence. I don't want this to end like this, she whispered. And I realized, she still thought she had power here. That she could guilt me. Tug on history. Dangle the word we like it still meant something. I closed the door to the chain. Let it hang open between us. And I said, there's no this left. You ended it. I just finally caught up. Then I closed the door. She stood out there for a minute. Then I heard her footsteps fade away. She didn't knock again. Meeting with the lawyer was easier than I expected. No kids. No shared property. No joint business. Just a rental, some furniture, and a few shared accounts, most of which I'd already frozen or closed. He asked me to gather anything financial she might still have access to. Bank statements, credit card activity, shared email logins. So I logged into the old joint account we barely used, the one I kept open because I'm a sentimental idiot who thought maybe one day we'd resync. The balance was low. As expected. But the activity? There was a charge from 2 days ago. $248.67. Hilton downtown, room service plus late checkout. I stared at the line item for a long time. She'd checked into a hotel. 2 days after crying on my doorstep. 2 days after saying she wanted to explain and make it right. She was still with him. Still using the time I gave her, the silence I gave her, to sleep in late and order room service with the guy she told me was just a mentor. That's when the anger came back. Not because she cheated again, I expected that. But because she still thought I was stupid. Like I wasn't checking. Like I wouldn't find out. Like I'd come crawling back and she could play the "we were both wrong" card and move on clean. So I did one last thing. I printed the receipt, put it in an envelope, dropped it in the mailbox at her building with no note. Just the evidence. Black and white. Her choices, one more time, written down and paid in full. No texts followed. No denial. She knew I knew. And now she knew that I didn't care anymore. After I dropped that envelope, I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel anything, really. Just, done. That's the thing they don't tell you about betrayal. You don't get one big, cinematic moment where you scream into the rain and walk off into the sunset. You just get stillness. And eventually, that stillness starts to feel like peace. I finalized the account closures. Got my own place. Returned the last of her mail unopened. Told her through the lawyer that I didn't want anything from her, not a cent, not a keepsake, not an explanation. She tried one last text a week later. I miss you. I think about us all the time. I didn't respond. Because the version of me she's talking to. The guy who covered the rent while she lied to his face. The one who took her back after red flags turned into full-blown fires. That guy's gone. I deleted the thread. Blocked the number. Not out of spite. Out of self-respect. It didn't feel like revenge. It felt like reclaiming oxygen. Now. Life's quiet. I go to the gym. Cook for myself. I read more. I sleep through the night. I even laugh sometimes. Real, actual laughter that doesn't feel forced. I don't think about her as much anymore. But when I do, I don't wonder why she did it. I only wonder how long she thought I'd stay blind. And thank God I opened my eyes. It hit me in the grocery store, of all places. I was walking past the wine aisle when I saw the exact bottle she used to love. I'd bought it dozens of times without thinking. Reflex. Routine. I stopped for half a second. Then I kept walking. Didn't hesitate. Didn't flinch. Just moved on. It sounds small, but in that moment, I realized something had changed. She wasn't in my head anymore. Not the way she used to be, like static, like a rerun of a life I couldn't shut off. I wasn't hearing her voice in every decision or waiting for her to text. I wasn't rehearsing what I should have said. I was just living. That's the thing no one warns you about after betrayal. You expect pain, you expect rage, but you don't expect the emptiness. And then one day, even that fades. And what's left is yours. Your silence. Your space. Your peace. I started reaching out to old friends. Not to tell them what happened, just to reconnect. The ones who mattered never asked for details. They just showed up. That was enough. One night, I cooked dinner, sat down, and realized the house didn't feel haunted anymore. It felt quiet. And I wasn't afraid of the quiet. I was starting to like it. I didn't plan on dating. Not seriously. Not so soon. But a friend of mine invited me out to a trivia night, said a few people were coming. Low pressure. Beer, dumb questions, laughs. One of the people there was Emily. She wasn't flashy. Not trying to impress anyone. Just smart, dry sense of humor, sharp eyes. We ended up on the same team. Talked about books. Travel. Bad TV. No flirting. Just, easy conversation. Something I hadn't had in years. At the end of the night, we walked out to the lot and just stood there for a second. She said, "So, your ex really messed you up, huh?" I laughed. That obvious? She shrugged. "You talk like someone who's finally breathing again." I didn't ask her out. Not that night. But the next week, I messaged her. We got dinner. Nothing fancy. And for 2 hours, I forgot to check my phone. That's when I knew I was okay. Not because I'd moved on, whatever that means, but because I wasn't looking over my shoulder anymore. I wasn't holding every woman up against someone else's mistakes. I wasn't waiting for the red flags. I was just there. In the moment. Myself. And for the first time in what felt like forever, that was enough. It came on a Sunday afternoon. Random number. New phone, maybe. But I knew it was her. The message was short. "I heard you're seeing someone. I'm happy for you. I miss talking to you." I stared at it for maybe 5 seconds. No anger. No twist in my chest. Not even surprise. Just a kind of dull acknowledgement, like hearing a song you used to like, but now barely recognize. A year ago, that message would have triggered spiral mode. Overthinking. Wondering what she really meant. Trying to decode the emotional trap hidden between the lines. This time, I just deleted it. No reply. No screenshot. No telling friends. Because I didn't need closure anymore. I didn't want her voice in my head. I didn't care what version of the story she was spinning or how many what-ifs she was still keeping in her back pocket. She was a closed chapter. Not ripped out. Not burned. Just done. And the beautiful part? She doesn't get to know who I became after her. That version of me, the one who finally woke up, rebuilt, healed, she'll never meet him. And I'm okay with that. Every now and then, someone will ask what happened between us. I usually keep it simple. Things fell apart. Because the long version doesn't matter anymore. Not to me. I don't feel the need to explain the gaslighting, the manipulation, the slow erosion of trust. I don't need them to know about Trent, or the hotel receipts, or the way she stood in my doorway pretending to cry. She was one story in my life. A long chapter, yeah. One that changed me. But not the whole book. And when I look back now, I don't just see the betrayal, I see the person I was before it. The one who ignored red flags. Who thought loyalty meant silence. Who thought being a good man meant staying through anything. That guy was trying. He just didn't know he was being lied to. I don't hate him. But I'm glad I'm not him anymore. Because now, I recognize peace. I protect my time. I trust slowly, but I love better. I don't confuse someone needing me with someone respecting me. And when something feels wrong, I listen. If you're reading this because you feel that itch, the shift in tone, the sudden distance, the weird excuses, let me say this. You're not crazy. You're not paranoid. You're not too sensitive. You're not insecure for noticing patterns. You're aware. And awareness is painful when you still love someone who's making you doubt your own senses. But trust that inner voice. Because looking back, all the signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. I gave her the benefit of the doubt until it gutted me. If I could talk to myself a year ago, I'd say, you're allowed to walk away before it breaks you. You don't need the perfect evidence to leave a disrespectful situation. You're not responsible for fixing someone who doesn't respect you. The worst part isn't the betrayal. It's realizing how much of yourself you gave to someone who was never truly in it with you. But the good part, the part they don't expect, you come back. You come back stronger, wiser, quieter, maybe, but solid in a way you never were before. The day you stop explaining yourself to people who broke you, that's the day you start healing. So if you're still in it, start packing your dignity. Because peace is out here, waiting for you. And trust me, it's better than you think.